It was a bright, bustling morning in downtown Chicago, where the city pulsed with energy. The streets were alive with hurried footsteps, blaring horns, and the aroma of fresh coffee drifting from corner cafes. Among the crowd was a man named Marcus Reed, a delivery driver who had long since learned how the world viewed men like him. To most, he was invisible, just another blue-collar worker blending into the city's machinery. But today would prove that assumptions could be dangerous. Marcus's latest job took him to Renault's, one of the most exclusive fine dining restaurants in the city, where a single meal could cost more than his entire weekly paycheck. The place was renowned for its meticulous service, extravagant decor, and the kind of clientele that never had to check their bank accounts. But Marcus wasn't here for a meal. He was delivering their morning shipment of premium seafood and organic produce. As he maneuvered his hand truck into the alley behind the restaurant, he caught snippets of laughter spilling from the kitchen's back door. "Can you believe these delivery guys?" one voice snickered. "Always dragging in here like they own the place. They should at least try to look presentable," another chimed in. "You'd think someone delivering to Renault's would care about professionalism." Marcus exhaled slowly, his grip tightening on the dolly. This wasn't the first time he had been treated like background noise, and it wouldn't be the last. He knocked twice on the metal door and waited. The door swung open, revealing a sharply dressed sous chef with a scowl. "You're late," he snapped. Marcus, calm as ever, held up his clipboard. "Right on schedule. Fresh seafood from Atlantic imports, organic greens, all as requested." The chef barely glanced at him before waving him in dismissively. "Just put it wherever. And don't block the kitchen entrance." Marcus stepped inside, instantly feeling the weight of a dozen judgmental eyes on him. Staff members paused their tasks to sneer or whisper behind their hands. A waiter near the counter muttered under his breath, "Bet he couldn't afford a glass of water here, let alone a meal." Laughter rippled through the room. Marcus kept his face neutral as he carefully unloaded the crates. The head chef, a man named Damien Foster, scrutinized the produce with exaggerated disdain. "Is this the best they could send?" he mused loudly, casting a pointed look at Marcus. "If there's a problem with the quality, I can call the supplier," Marcus offered evenly. Damien snorted. "Don't bother. Just do your job and get out of the way." More chuckles. A line cook tossed an empty crate toward Marcus's feet. "Oops, looks like you missed one." Marcus stared at the crate for a moment before calmly stepping over it. "Real funny," he murmured. But the worst was yet to come. As he finished unloading the last of the seafood, a waiter near the kitchen door muttered just loud enough for him to hear, "Yeah, take your little dolly and go back to wherever you came from." The room fell silent as Marcus stopped in his tracks. His hand rested on the door handle, but he didn't push it open. Instead, he turned back, his gaze sweeping across the room. There was no anger in his expression, only an unnerving calm. "I came here," he said, his voice steady, "to deliver something this place is missing: respect." The staff shifted uneasily, their smirks fading. Without another word, Marcus stepped out and let the door close behind him. But the day wasn't over yet. 3 hours later, the entire staff was summoned to the dining area for a mandatory meeting. Damien, arms crossed, muttered to a colleague, "What now?" Another speech on presentation. The restaurant manager, looking more anxious than usual, glanced toward the entrance. "I don't know, but the new owner is making an appearance today." Murmurs spread through the staff. They had all heard about the mysterious new owner who had recently purchased Renault's, but no one had seen him yet. Then, the doors opened, and Marcus Reed walked in, still wearing the same uniform from that morning. The air in the room thickened. The whispers ceased. Eyes darted from Marcus to the manager, to Damien, who had gone rigid. "Wait," Damien stammered, his face paling. "You're—" Marcus smiled faintly. "That's right. As of 3 weeks ago, I own this place." The weight of his words sank in, heavy and undeniable. The same man they had mocked, dismissed, and humiliated was now the one signing their paychecks. "I've spent years in this industry," Marcus continued, his tone measured. "Started as a dishwasher. Worked my way up. I know what it's like to be at the bottom. But let me tell you something. Disrespecting the people who keep this place running? That's not how I do business. Damien opened his mouth but closed it again, his bravado crumbling. The other staff members looked away, their shame palpable. Marcus let the silence linger before finishing. So here's the deal. This restaurant is built on excellence, but that starts with how we treat each other. If you can't work in an environment of respect, you're free to find another kitchen. No one spoke. No one moved. Marcus nodded, satisfied. Good. Now, let's get back to work. We have customers to serve. As he turned to leave, he glanced at Damien. And by the way, that's seafood. Some of the best on the market. Maybe next time, judge the ingredients, not the person delivering them. As the stunned staff slowly dispersed, Marcus smiled to himself. Today, a lesson had been served. And it was far richer than anything on the menu at Renault's. And yet, that wasn't the end of it. A week later, Marcus hosted a staff dinner, something the previous owners never bothered with. He stood at the center of the grand dining hall, watching as waiters, cooks, and dishwashers hesitated before taking seats usually reserved for high-paying customers. Eat, he encouraged. And remember, no one in this room is better than anyone else. The only thing that separates success from failure is how you treat people along the way. Damien, still humbled, raised a glass. To second chances, and lessons well learned. The room erupted in applause. Marcus grinned. And to damn good seafood.